Caitlin Clark wins the Rookie of the Year. There was one vote for Angel Reese, everybody else for Caitlin Clark. This is what's happening, is the voters are now putting out on social media, hey, it wasn't me. It is your, that's your prerogative. You can. I mean, I've voted and had people criticize my votes, but I had no problem telling people. I mean, I was proud to be a voter in the NBA. Somebody thinks Angel Reese was the Rookie of the Year? Fine. Maybe it's a writer who covered her team in Chicago. Okay. It's not the end of the world.
Did you know that Caitlin Clark's Rookie of the Year win wasn't unanimous? Yeah, you heard that right. One voter chose Angel Reese instead. Now, before you freak out, let's talk about what this really means for Clark, the WNBA, and why some people are making a big deal out of it. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Let's rewind a bit. Clark's rookie season was insane. She was lighting up the scoreboard, dishing out assists like candy, and making plays that had fans jumping out of their seats. Imagine this. Clark steps onto the court, and suddenly the whole game changes. That's the kind of impact she had. But here's where things get interesting. When it came time for the Rookie of the Year vote, Clark was one vote shy of a perfect score. You know what's crazier? This one vote might actually mean more than just a number on a piece of paper. It's got people talking about all sorts of things in women's basketball. Stick around, because we're about to unpack why this tiny detail is causing such a big stir in the WNBA world.
Caitlin Clark's going to go, can you believe I didn't go unanimous? Now, I thought we would have unanimous MVP and unanimous Rookie of the Year. But it feels like all these voters are like, wasn't me. Wasn't me. Yes, Paulie. You got that with Asia Wilson, but Caitlin Clark all but won, and I don't think it's going to ruin her summer. I don't.
Now, you might be thinking, it's just one vote, right? Wrong. This vote opened up a can of worms that's making people question everything from player recognition to racial dynamics in the league. Ready to see how deep this rabbit hole goes? So here's the deal. Angel Reese got that one dissenting vote, and suddenly it was like someone dropped a bomb in the WNBA world. Fans were losing their minds, media outlets were scrambling for hot takes, and other voters. They were practically tripping over themselves to say, nope, wasn't me. It's crazy how one little vote can cause such a ruckus. But here's the thing, it's not just about Clark or Reese. This whole situation is shining a spotlight on some serious issues in women's basketball. We're talking about race, media bias, and the intense pressure these young athletes face. Let's break it down. Clark's been killing it on the court, no doubt, but some people are saying this vote is exposing a bigger problem. Angel Wilson, another WNBA superstar, put it out there, you can be top-notch at what you are as a black woman, but yet maybe that's something that people don't want to see.
If you're the person who voted for Angel Reese, clearly I would think that you're aware of what the reaction may be. Would you put your name out there?
Sure.
I don't think they have yet. I'm checking.
Sure. They don't give you guidelines here and say, hey, check off, check this box, that box. If you really feel like Angel Reese was the Rookie of the Year, then just own it. And if they don't, they might just say, look, I voted and, this is who I thought should be Rookie of the Year. I don't agree with it. I thought she would be unanimous. I mean, it's not even close.
Ouch, that's heavy stuff, right? And it doesn't stop there. This vote's got people talking about how the media treats different players. Clark's been getting tons of attention and big sponsorship deals. But what about Reese? Some folks are saying her contributions are getting overshadowed. It's like, are we playing favorites here? Think about it. When Clark's competitive on the court, people are all, yeah, that's our girl. But when Reese shows that same fire, sometimes she gets criticized. What's up with that? It's making people wonder if there's a double standard going on. But here's where it gets really interesting. This whole situation is showing us just how much pressure these young women are under. Imagine being Clark or Reese right now. You're fresh out of college, playing in the big leagues, and suddenly everyone's got an opinion about you. That's a lot to handle, especially when you're just trying to play the game you love. And let's not forget, this is happening in the WNBA, a league that's still fighting for more recognition and support. So when something like this blows up, it's not just about the player, it's about the whole league and how people see women's sport. So does it matter that Clark didn't win unanimously? In the grand scheme of things, maybe not. She still won after all. But what this vote did was spark a conversation that needed to happen.
Because I said, the most important person in the league is Caitlin Clark. And should be a top 5, if not, it should have been a top 3 MVP candidate. there's nobody more valuable. Now, A'ja Wilson was a more dominating player and deserved to be the MVP and unanimous. So don't get it tangled. But I'm talking about value. And value, we can all have a different opinion on that. Her value on the floor, in the arena, in the league, all of that.
It's forcing us to look at how we treat these athletes, how we talk about them, and whether we're really giving everyone a fair shake. All right, so Clark's got the trophy. But here's a curveball for you. What if her biggest impact isn't even happening on the court? There's a whole other side to this rookie story that's got people talking about way more than just basketball. You've probably heard about the Caitlin Clark effect by now. It's not just about her killer crossovers or her downtown three. This girl is changing the game off the court too. During the 2024 WNBA season opener, guess whose games were the only ones getting live broadcasts? Yep, Clark's and JC Sheldon's. Meanwhile, other rookies were making their debuts without a camera in sight. It's like the WNBA wasn't ready for the Clark storm to hit. But hold up, it's not all glitz and glamour for our rookie sensation. Clark's facing some real challenges that'll make you think twice about the life of a WNBA star.
Caitlin Clark showed up, and this is proof that her life is 10 times as hard as, to get the same credit.
People were actually watching her play basketball, so that added stress of the much bigger audience certainly came into play. I don't want to say scrutiny, but coverage is another way of lowering the bar. And I'm going to say this again. This is a Confucius mantra. The standards they set for you is what they really think of you.
Remember those cushy private flights she had in college? Gone. Now she's rubbing elbows with the rest of us on commercial planes. And it's not just about comfort. We're talking safety and well-being here. It's a wake-up call about the stuff WNBA players deal with that most folks don't see. And get this, even scheduling games is a headache. The Indiana Fever had to switch up their game times because of the Pacers. It's like, move over ladies, the guys need the court. This isn't just about Clark. It's showing us the hoops, pun intended, that WNBA teams jump through just to play. Now let's talk money. Clark's Nike deal is no joke. We're talking $28 million over 8 years. That's the biggest sponsorship contract ever for a women's basketball player. But it's got people asking questions like, why aren't other players getting deals like this? And is there something going on with race and marketability in women's sports? Clark's not blind to all this. She knows she's got a platform, and she's using it.
Caitlin Clark got all but one Rookie of the Year vote. She will not have the distinction of being a unanimous Rookie of the Year. Is it a big, I would tend to think Caitlin Clark doesn't care, but she probably does care a little bit. And a lot of people are celebrating that. They're excited. They stay strong, whoever it was that, kept it real and blah, blah, and denied her that distinction.
She's all about inspiring the next generation of female athletes. In her words, I think that's like the reason you do it, getting to inspire the next generation. It's not just about her game, it's about changing the game for everyone coming up behind her. But here's where it gets tricky. While Clark's blowing up, some folks are worried about other players getting left in the dust. It's great that she's getting attention, but what about the rest of the league? Are we creating a superstar system that leaves other talented players in the shadows? And let's not forget the pressure. Imagine being Clark right now. You're fresh out of college, the whole world's watching, and suddenly you're expected to save women's basketball. That's a lot for anyone to handle, let alone a rookie. This whole situation is shining a spotlight on the WNBA in ways we've never seen before. It's forcing us to look at how we treat these athletes, how we market the league, and whether we're really giving women's sports the respect it deserves. What if Clark not winning unanimously is actually the best thing that could have happened? Crazy, I know, but stick with me, because this might just be the plot twist women's basketball needed. Think about it. Clark's already changing the game, but this snub could be the spark that sets the whole league on fire. It's got everyone talking, and not just about Clark. We're seeing discussions about race, media coverage, and the future of the WNBA that might never have happened otherwise. Now, let's talk legacy. You might be wondering if this non-unanimous vote will actually impact Clark's career long-term. Here's the thing. Probably not. Look at other sports legends who face similar situations. They didn't just survive, they thrive. This moment, it's just a blip on Clark's radar. Years from now, we'll be talking about her records, not some vote. But here's where it gets really interesting. Clark's success and all this attention, it's like a tidal wave that's going to change things for future WNBA rookies. We're talking bigger contracts, more media coverage, and maybe even some changes to how the league operates. It's like Clark opened the door, and now everyone else gets to walk through it. And it's not just about the money or the fame. Clark's out here inspiring the next generation of female athletes. She said it herself. I think that's like the reason you do it, getting to inspire the next generation. That's huge. Imagine all the young girls watching Clark and thinking, that could be me someday. But let's keep it real for a second. This spotlight on Clark is great, but it's also shining a light on some not so great stuff in the WNBA. Remember how we talked about those scheduling conflicts and commercial flights? Yeah, that's still happening. It's like the league wasn't ready for a star this big. Here's a wild thought. What if this whole situation forces the WNBA to step up its game? We could be looking at better broadcasting deals, more sponsorships, and maybe even some changes to how they treat their players. It's like Clark's success is putting pressure on the league to grow. And it's not just the WNBA. This is making waves in the whole world of women's sports. We're seeing conversations about equal pay, media coverage, and opportunities that go way beyond basketball. It's like Clark's story is becoming a rallying cry for women athletes everywhere. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this too much pressure for one rookie? It's a fair question, but from what we've seen so far, Clark's got some serious shoulders. She's not just handling the pressure, she's thriving in it, and that's inspiring a whole new generation of players to dream big. So yeah, Clark didn't win unanimously, but in the long run, that might not matter at all. What matters is how she's changing the game, both on and off the court. She's not just a player, she's becoming a symbol of what's possible in women's sport. All right, let's wrap this up. Clark's rookie season was insane, but that one missing vote, it sparked a whole conversation about women's sports. We're talking racial dynamics, media coverage, and the challenges WNBA players face. It's way bigger than just one award. But here's the real deal. Clark's changing the game on and off the court. She's got big sponsorship deals, she's inspiring the next generation, and she's putting pressure on the league to step up. Yeah, there are still issues like commercial flights and scheduling conflicts, but that's just more fuel for change. So, does that one vote matter? Not really. What matters is how Clark and players like her are pushing women's basketball forward. If you want to see real change, keep watching, keep supporting. That's how we'll see the WNBA grow and thrive.